You better edit me into progress.
Sorry.
Daniel's still speaking.
Alright, go on. 5, 4, 3, 2.
I want all my babies.
God.
Shit. We're keeping all this.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't think people understand how sick whacked up Euros is, though, man.
Okay, fuck your hip hop. I watched the party just die. And was cackling about Diddy, but all of y'all on trial.
So let's go, man.
Hi, world. As you can tell, we're back talking about an album that we reacted to a while ago, Kendrick Lamar's GNX. We're going to go into a deeper dive on it. And we've got a special guest, our brother, Abiade, in the building.
Hey.
Sick of me at this point, surely.
Nah, I feel like, well, we're not anyway. I don't know about everybody else, but what are you saying, bro?
Good, man. How are you, man?
Hey, man.
That little debate has got
Will that will never come out, by
got
the
the
way.
vocal cords ready.
Come out.
I'm not going to lie. I think we should leak that one.
Yeah, it won't look good for some people, man.
I don't know about that one.
Huh?
You! Why are you biting?
I stand by everything.
Let's How are you, man?
Yeah, inside conversation.
Bless, man. I feel good today,
good.
man. Yeah, man.
Let's move on. Yeah.
All good.
Great.
Let's very much move on.
You man good, yeah? Yeah, good.
Let's very much move on.
You want Drake's? What you saying, man? You good, yeah? Yeah?
Drake's is here, and our cousin Emmanuel is here as well.
Big up.
So yeah, it's a rowdy one today. But yeah, all good. Ready to talk hip hop. So yeah, it's been over a month since Kendrick Lamar dropped his latest album, GNX. As I said, we dropped an instant reaction to it. We listened to the album for the first time together in this studio, and we kind of gave our instant reactions. And we said that we would come back to it and, you know, assess it again from a deeper point of view. And we're here to do that today. But before we get into that, if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe to the podcast, hit that bell so you're notified whenever we drop new things. If you're listening on audio platforms, give us a 5-star rating. Follow us, really helps us out, helps us grow, helps us get us to more people and all that good stuff. All right. I mean, listen, anyone who listens to this podcast or watches this podcast would have probably listened to this by now. It doesn't really need much introduction. Let's just get straight into it. Nee, as our guest, someone whose opinion we don't know when it comes to GNX, you can start us off. What did you think?
So on my way here, my absolute nightmare thought was they're going to ask me what I think first. And here we are.
Hi.
Living that nightmare. Look. Why are you looking at me already?
I didn't even say nothing.
Yeah, the look has got me scared a little bit.
I already know. I think I kind of know what you think.
I think for context, everybody, if you don't know, needs to understand. It doesn't get bigger a fan of Kendrick than me.
It's copping please already.
Yeah,
copping hella please.
Your please stock is rising. Your stock in please is...
Like, I love this man dearly. Like, I think he is a phenomenon, right?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. I do think that... Okay, question first. Question first.
You can't answer a question with a question.
No, it's important.
All right, go on.
Am I reviewing this? Am I giving my opinion on this as an album or a mixtape? I feel that's a very vital starting question for this.
Why does that matter though? Because
it does.
It does exactly. Right. When you're looking at you rate a mixtape slightly differently. You allow for certain things more. You allow it to be a little bit more loose. You allow it to be a little bit less cohesive. If it's an album, especially the timing of this album, the significance of this album, you have slightly higher metrics and higher bars by which you rate something. So I want to ask you, how am I reviewing this thing? I got reviews either way.
I don't count it as an album. Just answer your question.
You don't count it as an album.
All
right, bet.
It's an album, man. What are we talking about here?
You think it's an album?
It's an album.
You think it's an album as well?
it sounded like a mixtape, but it's an album, man.
I don't think it's an album, man.
You man are copying please.
Even more confusing.
You man are copying
I'm
please.
not copying please. I just don't think
it's an album, man.
I think there's too many things that he's done on this that doesn't constitute it as an album.
Why? Like what?
I think one Hard Part 6 being on it.
What?
We're gonna get to that.
Part 6 being on it.
Yeah.
Is the reason why I don't.
It's
one of the
albums.
because he's never done that in his life.
So
all of the hearts have dropped previous to the album dropping.
Yeah.
You do realise he dropped the Heart Part 2 on a project, right?
Did he?
No,
But then
it wasn't
It was overly
Mixtape,
dedicated.
Mixtape.
Cool, but it's not beyond him to drop a heart song on a project.
It was mixtape
What-
though.
what- what was the
I
hard
don't
part
think.
two? What was the
I
hard
don't
part
think
two
that
on?
matters.
What was the hard part two on?
Overly
Overly
dedicated.
Overly
dedicated.
dedicated.
Yeah.
That proves on
I
point.
don't. No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
it does because that was a mixtape. I just said to you.
but no,
so
no.
the only time he did drop it in the project was on a mixtape.
Yeah, but I'm saying he does and can and has dropped the heart on projects. They might
I
not
think
be
what
album,
Yemi's
albums,
saying,
but
I
they
think what
might be
Yemi's saying
projects.
is typically the hearts come as Lucy's, right? So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
typically in between projects. But my point is the fact that it is on Overly Dedicated and the rest of the hearts are Lucy's kind of lends more to it being a song that typically goes on mixtapes
Yeah.
or as Lucy. So I get why Mo is saying this might be a mixtape. Look, either way, let's just mixtape or album. Let's just assess it as a body of work. Okay, I think the very first thing I said when the album came out, once I got through the hysteria of this thing coming out, right, rush home to listen to it. I think me and you were together. I was taking my little man to jiu-jitsu or some shit. No, Muay Thai. I think I immediately said in the group chat, this is comfortably like his weakest projects. Like if we were to, it's weird because like as soon as it came out, I started thinking about that. You know when Jay-Z put his albums, CDs stacked in his order. That's the image that went into my mind straight away, and I was just like, where would I put this? And I'm like, this is comfortably at the bottom.
So weaker than Overly Dedicated, weaker than Kendrick Lamar EP.
It depends if we're looking at it as albums or mixtapes. If you put all of his projects, I'd probably say it's probably not one of the weakest. It's probably not. It's probably stronger than like Untitled, Unmastered, right? It's probably stronger than that. But probably probably is. I'm comfortable with that, yeah. But like, yeah, in terms of body of work, it's sort of lower end. Now, look, I want to start by saying, I don't know what it's like to be from the West Coast. I don't. Like, closest thing we get to that is like where we're recording this right now in West London, right? Like that's as west as it gets for us right now, right? Like we don't know what it's like. So sonically, we're already a bit of a disadvantage because we kind of knew that he was going to go down this direction with it being for the West. But I think we can all agree that we probably expected it to be a little bit more leaning into what we heard from like Squabble Up, which is sort of like more G-funk. We're going to get more bops from this, that on a sunny day we're just walking down the street like feeling like we're the shit. What we actually got was sort of like new wave West Coast sounds mixed in with a bit of the G-funk type of sensitivities, which made for a West Coast authentic album, but fundamentally like not the easiest listen.
New wave?
It's kind of new wave, if that's what you want to call it.
What do you mean new wave though?
I think the sound that we got from this album, you would find from the newer West Coast rappers,
There's a lot
as opposed to the
Drake
older
YG.
West Coast rappers and the West Coast sound.
Yeah.
And that kind of made it a slightly more niche listen when you think about it. It was slightly more niche as a result. But I'm going to stop there because I got more.
I see what you're saying as far as like the sound, because I think of that sound and I equate it with like YG, SOB, RBE, your boy.
I heard Drake or the Ruler hella on this.
Drake or the Ruler.
I heard Drake or the Ruler. Hey Now was Drake or the Ruler's whole flow. That whole hey now, say now. That was Drake or the Ruler to a TV. And he's
Maybe a little
banging.
bit of Dom Kennedy as well.
And then also even like the what ad libs, that was hella problem.
Problem.
Hella problem on that.
Yeah.
That's my initial take, but you better believe I got more, boys.
Hold on. Did you like it or not?
Yeah.
Oh shit, did I not come across?
Nah.
I liked it.
But
You didn't like it.
no, hold on. But
But not very much.
we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it.
Look, you don't understand. Like, it's very, very weird for me to be a month down the line from a Kendrick Lamar release and I've only listened to the album all the way through like 7 or 8 times.
That's a lot though, no?
So no, it's not. For me, I will listen to a Kendrick Lamar drop 7, 8 times a day.
Top first. I'm somewhat the opposite.
So it doesn't have that sort of like replayability, if that's a word, that all of his other projects naturally had me doing. I had the albums on constant
Can I ask you a question?
loop, and this is the only one where I'm like, actually, if I strip out the songs that I really, really love, it's only like 4 or 5, right? If I strip out the songs that I really, really, really love, it's only like 1 or 2. Like,
Do you think this had less replay
there's a
value
bunch of
to it?
albums that there are a bunch of songs in the album that like I really don't like, and I feel like an absolute traitor right now.
You should.
You might saw me wearing the Tottenham coat when I went to
Yeah,
the
that was
game.
wild
Like,
style.
do you know what that felt like?
Wild
The coat was so
For context, Nee's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, I'm a Liverpool
I've
fan.
got a
I
question
went,
for
to,
you.
I went to the Tottenham Stadium and they had these warm coats and I wore one because I was cold.
You think it's
I
got less?
felt like a traitor, but like this is kind of how I feel right now. But I can't lie,
You think it's got less replay value than Mr. Morale?
1000%.
That's what he gets taken.
To
from.
quote Lefty Gunplay on TV Off, the replay value for me is crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
I've gone back. I've gone back to this album. The most I've gone back to a Kendrick album in a very long time. I'll be real.
Yeah,
most
I'm
I've
very
gone back.
surprised you feel that way, you know, because I thought of all these albums, this
It's
might
the
have one of
easiest
the most replay value. To be honest with you, I
Because
feel
it's
like
short. I think because it's shorter.
yeah, shorter. I think way more digestible than what I'm used to, anyway. And it just felt like just slap after slap after slap. His other albums conceptually are a bit more heavy, which means that they're maybe not as easily to go back to over and over and over again. Like for me anyway, I need time between my listens with Kendrick albums because of just how dense they can be. But this one wasn't that. It was just straight slap in the face. Straight to on every
Yeah.
track, every track.
I've never had those challenges with Kendrick Lamar albums. Every single one of them I can listen to. Like he's phenomenal at like putting together music. Like from an instrumentation standpoint, who he picks to produce, who he picks to get on there and do live stuff. He's unbelievable at putting together music. And I actually think like with that in mind, some of the music off this album actually leans more to it being mixtapey because of how sort of 2D a lot of it sounded. Like the beats, if you think about the production quality in a Mr. Morale or a To Pimp a Butterfly versus the production quality on some of the beats and some of the songs that he chose here, how quick the songs are, the way that they're composed, like, you know, verse structuring and all this other stuff, like it feels like it was a quick project.
It was
I
a
think
drop off.
one even.
It feels like it wasn't the longest project to make by his standards, right? Which leads me on to a couple of points I'm going to make later on. But like, I just think, yes, replay value in the sense that like, you know, on my way here, for example, I was able to bang it out and just listen to it all the way through. It was a smooth listen. But like smooth listen and thoroughly enjoyable listen are two different things. Do you know what I mean? Like they're all we all know of albums that are just like quite good to listen to. You might hoover the house while you're listening to a thing, but it doesn't mean that they're fantastic. Doesn't mean that they're phenomenal. They just serve a purpose.
I think I understand what you're saying. This is gonna sound weird. I think instrumental wise, there was a drop off with quality, but there was still quality. Like there was still quality slaps. Like, I thought the whole thing slaps, even with the drop off, and that sounds weird. I don't even know how that even really makes sense, but in my mind it does.
Is the drop off just him employing more West Coast beats?
Nah, because I love West Coast production. I think there are a lot of them were way more simple.
The production or
The production.
I think so.
A lot of it
I
were a
agree.
lot more simple, which meant that he didn't really have to do as much performance-wise, vocally and lyrically on them as well, just because he could just vibe,
I think that's what this was.
which isn't even really a bad thing for me. It's not what I'm used to from him, so that's why it was a breath of fresh air for me, man. It's unlike anything else in his catalog, which is why even if there was a drop off quality-wise, like he's allowed that, and even with that, there's still slaps, and I don't know many artists that can do that.
Slaps is a very strong word, Pete.
There
No,
are
there's
slaps
slaps.
on this.
There's
bro. What are you
slaps. man.
talking
There's
about?
slaps. There's a few for me.
Squabble up,
There are
Squabble
slaps
up's
on
a
this,
slap.
bro.
TV off.
Squabble was a slap.
TV
Yeah.
off a slap.
TV off, half of TV off is.
Nah, I think
half
I
of
like
TV off
Hey Now
slaps.
was a
I like
Hey
slap
Now,
for
Hey
me.
Now for me is probably the best moment
like Peekaboo.
on the album.
Slap
I like
for me as
Peekaboo.
well.
think,
I like Peekaboo.
Peekaboo
I think
slap.
Hey Now is so good because of the reasons that I said. Where it actually sounds like I was like halfway expecting like George Clinton to start singing on that thing because of just how that switch up comes. Like it comes out of nowhere, and I think Kendrick's ability to harmonize and all of that makes that song amazing. I love it. Like the synth and all that comes through. I didn't expect it when I first listened to it. I think it's beautiful to listen to, but I don't think there are that many slaps. Like, I think Hey Now is a slap. I think Squabble Up is obviously a slap, right? Like
Peekaboo's a slap.
I don't love
Peekaboo.
is
Peekaboo's a slap to me.
that's the one that goes okay. Yeah,
I got 8Ks in my Peekaboo. It's a
No?
slap to me. I'll be real.
It's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like the Scissor songs.
I didn't love him, man.
The girls are going crazy about Luther.
You know
I
my
didn't- I
favorite.
didn't love him.
Yeah, that's
You
got
know what?
crazy.
I even
I
think
didn't
the
love him,
I
man.
even think the sample usage, like, and maybe this is another point that we go into, but I even think the songs where he just like lifted, so like the Luther stuff and the SWV
The Pac
stuff and the
stuff.
Pac stuff. I just feel like it was just not that creative.
But I don't think it was intended to be creative.
And that's why it's a
I don't
mixtape
think.
feel.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was meant to be creative. I think one of the, you know that what's that? The one with Hitter, J3 and Young Threat and I think Psycho, whatever his name is. The GNX.
Peso.
Yeah.
Peso.
Yeah.
One of them came out and goes, bro, I laid down my verse the night before. The album came out the next day. Everything seemed even rushed.
Yeah.
I think
So it's
the
a mixtape.
That's
then.
what I'm saying.
I
Like,
think the oldest
it's
track.
definitely
The oldest track
nobody
is
will lay
Squabble Up.
down. Nobody will lay down a track. Yeah, because the Squabble Up video was filmed 2 months before the video came out.
Yeah, when did
So-
the last video come out?
Yeah, so I think Young Threat goes when someone's telling you I laid down the verse the night before and then it got dropped the next day.
Whacked Out
That's not an
Murals
album to me.
starts off with him saying, yesterday
Yesterday
somebody whacked out my mural.
and then
Why
even
is
when
that
he
not
got-
an album to you? I think artists have done that. Like Tupac made Machiavelli in 3 days.
But Tupac's different.
No, but
I don't think. I don't think
when I say
Kendrick-
that, I just mean like the concept of like,
okay, and I
like
agree with you,
recording
but
quickly and it being
I go-
released quickly.
But then if you go off the
has
body-
been there.
And
But
also
Kendrick
you-
doesn't. But Kendrick, if you look at Kendrick's albums,
He don't do that.
He don't do that, and I think this is completely out of the realm. And I think what Rich said is what he intended to do when Rich goes. He just took it and
But I don't
just dropped
think-
it.
but I don't think-
I think Kendrick embraced the simplicity of it.
But I don't think the quickness. I don't think that should be used against him though, because like he's been very active this year. He's released a lot of music this year for what we're used to. So him doing this quickly, I don't think should be a knock against.
It's the
him.
same. It's the same as when rappers come out of jail and then a month later they've dropped a mixtape. Pass Aliou literally did that this year.
Yeah, but then
Album's fire, by the way.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it yet.
Pass Aliou's album is really good.
I just don't
Anyway.
think. I don't know, man. I just think there's so many variables into why it's not on the album. But to me, I like this side of Kendrick. I think that's where me and you might. I like simplicity. I like.
You were looking forward to this.
Yeah,
album.
like
oh,
I've
do
been.
you
Hold
not-
on, I've been. Go on.
No, go on.
No, I've been saying me personally. Like you guys have been with me for so long. If there's one thing I wanted for the longest when it comes to Kendrick is don't talk about nothing. Just put a West Coast beat on, speak about nothing and just rap.
These two men
So
are
then-
how I feel about exactly what you're saying. I said Kendrick needs to just drop
Yeah.
an album full of slaps.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done that here. Do you know what I mean? I think he's tried to do it here. I don't think he's done it here. I think he's way too talented. I think he's got access to way too many producers to not have an album which is 12 tracks long, which is just consistent bangers, right? Like, and I don't think he's done that here. I do want, and the reason why I said that for context is because I just want people to shut the fuck up about Kendrick's capabilities.
Do you think
People box him into like he can only do the conscious, overly convoluted, overly complex stuff, which by the way he's guilty of in this album, like lyrically and delivery wise. We can get onto that in a second, but like I just wanted him to just go into a studio, get beats like the ones that he's collabed on with people like Travis Scott and all them man, and just like do that and show people that he can do that. But I just think here there wasn't enough of it, and to be honest, like
do you think he
I actually think there's parts of this that are way too introspective. Like I
reincarnated?
like big pause incoming, but like I just wanted Kendrick to get his cock out on the table in this album, and it's still like all
He
this,
does that a lot though.
he does a bit, but like I also
man.
for the first time ever, I know,
Bro,
I said
what?
big pause incoming,
Stop it, man.
right? But my point
you can't
is,
even pause
but
that,
my
that's
point,
not allowed,
but my point is like, I deserve it all, bro. Okay.
Bro, whack them.
Like, just,
Hang
I
on.
don't wanna-
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
wanna-
I know what you mean.
I just,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
like, this isn't the mood I want you in right now.
What?
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
after what you've just done,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
I
yeah.
deserve it all. I
What
don't
do you-
want
so what do you
any.
want?
I
What do
don't
you
want
want?
any introspection. I want cock out on the table, bro. I want all of that.
All right, how about
Big pause.
How about
I get what you're saying.
Oh,
feel me?
look at me, man.
how about
Okay,
but how about-
it's his advantage. I'm having looking.
but how about when how he ends whacked out murals? Whack the murals out, but it ain't no legends if my legend ends. Is that cock out?
look,
I'm not using that term, but
I think-
I thought he was stunting all over it.
I think
bruv.
when
I
you
thought he was
end it-
shooting
when
at
you-
everyone
bro,
on
didn't-
this, man.
Even in the song you're talking about, doesn't he even end it going on? Tell me what the fuck you deserve the greatest motherfucker. What do you
Yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah.
He even ends it on.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah,
me why
yeah.
you deserve the
Man,
greatest
why you deserve the
motherfucker.
greatest-
All the
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted,
Like-
I wanted White Town Murals, Squabble Up, Hey Now, times 3 times.
Well, even Man in the Garden. How annoying does it anger me to know the lames can speak on the origins of the game I breathe?
That's the same one.
Fam,
right?
don't mind.
Man
I
in
think
the
he's been
Gardens,
harsh. I
deserve
think you're
all,
being
right?
quite harsh.
Yeah.
you know?
I want a up tempo beat where you say the same shit.
Listen,
I don't want you whispering to Jesus. I want you
Listen.
shouting at the man them, innit?
I went out on record on the live show saying if he gave us 12 squabble ups, I comfortably call him the GOAT.
Literally.
I'm not calling him the GOAT right
Exactly.
yet. Even though I like the album, I don't think, to your point, I don't think he gave us 12 squabble ups
Exactly.
or 12 slaps.
So-
How many did he
What's
give you?
not
Wait,
like-
wait, wait. How
And
many
it's
did he give you?
important
It's
what
not- I don't
you're
have an issue,
saying.
but I'll
Yeah,
get to
how
that.
many did he give you? To you?
Oh, he gave me. Let me.
Because I've got
By the way,
7.
the
slaps.
title track is arguably one of the worst Kendrick songs I've ever heard.
No, you're doing
Yeah,
too
I
much,
don't
man.
know either.
GNX is one of the worst Kendrick Lamar
Oh, I
songs.
thought you meant Whack That Mural.
Oh no, GNX, the title track.
You know what I
It's
like?
now one of the worst
You
songs
know what I
I've
liked
ever
about
heard. I didn't like
GNX?
Glory.
There's only,
Kendrick.
there's only one bit I liked about GNX.
I think Gloria was cheesy.
I didn't like
Can I
that.
say something about
Give
Gloria?
me 6.
All right, Gloria. Do you know what I love about Gloria?
Beat.
I love those kind of songs.
Okay.
I love Kanye Homecoming. I love. What did Common
That's
do?
not a Kanye
What did
Homecoming.
Common? You see, you know when he started, I thought he was talking about his girl. Then I figured out he was talking about.
Common, I used to love her.
Yeah,
type.
Common, I used to love it, and he was
conceptually
like hip
cool,
hop.
innit?
But I
But
love,
sonically, though, it
and
weren't-
to me though, I'm a fan of those kind of songs. Like I just
You just don't
love
like
the
that
Kendrick.
metaphor.
You don't like Kendrick and Scissors together, do you?
Bro, like, I was
I don't
like,
think
I was
so,
so
man.
excited.
Wait, you think you don't like SZA?
I don't think so, man.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan either.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure.
so, man.
I think they.
One thing I will
don't think they
say
miss.
with Gloria, I was so excited on the first couple of bars because I thought, in the midst of all the beef with Drake, where his wife has been mentioned and we don't actually know what's happening with him and his wife, I was so excited when the first 2 bars was like, I got beef with my
That's what
missus.
I'm
or whatever. I
saying.
thought he was going to
Absolutely,
go in and talk about his missus. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And it ends up being this sort of like, as you say, I used to love her type thing where you have your aha moment at the end where he's actually talking about his pen and it's just like, bro, like, that's not...
I like those kind of
I
songs.
know in your mind that's great, but like you are... Maybe if you did this type of song on Overly Dedicated,
Yeah.
people
I hear
would be
that.
like...
Yeah,
I
Like
hear that.
now, I
I
don't
hear
know
that.
if that...
Like
We don't need
already
that.
know
I
you
don't know if that's...
we already know you could do
for
that.
your level, I
Yeah,
don't know if that's clever
I hear that, I hear
anymore.
Yeah, we don't
But
really-
feel me?
I'm always gonna like those kind of conceptual songs. Even though I understand what you're saying, it's just at the
Yeah,
end it was
like-
a little bit like like, hey, we get it.
Do you
But-
man think that Not Like Us not being on this took away from it?
I think it was an amazing
No.
play. I think he was smart not to put on like.
Do you think it added anything to it not being on this?
Yeah, 'cause
Added
I
everything
think
to
it
the
would
beef track. Absolutely.
say that again.
Tell
It
me
added everything to the track itself, not like us by not being on the album.
Yeah,
why.
Because again, it's just Kendrick Lamar separating my destruction of my art with just like carrying on as if this op doesn't exist straight after. And I
And he
think that's one
continued
of
doing-
Kendrick's strengths is that like, yes, he referred to, you know, Snoop and Taylor Made in the first track and all this other stuff. So clearly the beef is still in his mind. But like, I don't know if you want a song like Not Like Us to detract or rather detract also or add to an album like this when you could just leave it as this beast which is still on its own independently growing and bubbling. Like it was unnecessary.
Plus in new age rap, you don't really see it like that.
Yeah.
You don't really see. You didn't see back to back on a Drake album. You didn't see. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I mean, for me, I think I like the album, but I think I like it as much as I will.
Yeah.
I've listened to it enough now. And I don't think I'm gonna like it any more than I already do.
Big
Like,
facts.
there
Oh,
are
yeah,
moments
yeah.
that I really love. There are moments that I kind of. There are some songs I skip. Like, I think I skip Dodger Blue.
don't tell me that.
I like
I
Dodger
like
Blue.
Dodger Blue, man.
I do like Dodger Blue.
I
Yeah,
like
no,
it. I like it.
That might be my favourite
It's
track on the album.
fine.
Yeah, it's
but
fine.
it's not my fave.
It's just
It's
fine.
not my
I know
fave.
what you mean. I know what you
It's
mean.
not my
I can't
fave.
tell you how much I
Luther,
love that song.
Is it?
I
That's
can't
one of
tell-
your favourites.
That is top 3 for me.
Okay,
Blue,
fair.
Dodger Blue.
Dodger Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some songs I skip. Like, they're fine, but they're not my fave. And I think as much as I enjoyed him being, I guess, freer in a sense, because we mentioned in the instant reaction, there's less of a concept to this album. He's just barring, he's just being introspective, he's just having fun. I've appreciated what he can do in that realm, and if this is the best he can give us in that realm, cool. I'll take that for what it is. Maybe he is just stronger when there's a tighter concept, when there's, you know, more adventurous production, when there's more, when there's just more around it, more infrastructure around it, versus something like this. But I would comfortably call it like a good project, but it's not my favorite.
Hey, yo,
Probably not even in my top 3.
Kendrick doesn't do bad projects. So
Yeah.
again, as I always say, when we have these debates about like artists who came out with like maybe 4 or 5 albums that were amazing, and then as their careers went on, their album quality kind of went down. I always make this line that you guys know, like some of our favorite rappers' sort of like worst albums would be like most rappers' best albums.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So like Kendrick is in that situation.
Bro, give this to
where-
J. Cole.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. This
Don't do
GNX
that.
album
I'm
with
just saying.
most other. If you take out all the elite, if you take out all of the elite rappers, the big 3, whoever you want to call it, the people who are at the top of the game right now, and you give GNX to anyone outside of that as their first album or even their second album, people are like, oh, this is critically acclaimed. It's going to win everything at the Grammys. It will, like, because I think fundamentally the quality of the album itself isn't so bad that I would consider it a dud. But I just think where we have to link quality of album to quality of artist. We can't do that too much because that's when we fall into the trap of like, oh, we want Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z, or we want like, we can't do that too much. But I do think it's hard not to compare somebody like him who is just known for catalogue every single time his album comes out. I had a question though. With all that being said,
Before you say that,
go on.
it's almost as if he's suffering from his own success.
So, kind of linked to that question. Kind of linked to that statement was my question. Do we think that this was the album that he should have dropped, or rather needed to drop, or do you think this is as good an album as he could have dropped post the Drake beef?
Yeah, if this isn't the main album. Let me say it like this. Sorry, go on.
If the conditions are the same, and let's just say he made this in 3-4 weeks, I think this is the best he could have done.
I think if you give me another project, whether it's before the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, I have no qualms with this project. This being a little mediation between now to then to get to that point and just enjoy the win. I don't think this album was made for any of us, if you really want me to be honest with you. I think this was solely made for them lot out there. I don't think
being nice. This wasn't the best project he could have dropped after the Drake beef.
I couldn't agree more with Pete.
But then I don't think it was.
Within a month.
I don't care what the time frame was.
I don't think it was.
This is Kendrick, bro.
I don't think it was.
Considering what he's given us this year,
that matters, man.
That matters. I don't think this album was for us though. I genuinely think
time frame.
I think he made it specifically for those out west. I don't think he had us in mind. I think this was just riding out on the high of beating Drake.
Time frame matters, man.
On the high of his whole city being the Dodgers winning the national parade, playing not like us the whole summer. I think this was made solely for them out there.
So what does that mean?
But whoever is for, does he not? I guess the reason why I asked this question is because Kendrick Lamar has never been bigger than he is right now, or rather, end of the summer when the beef was at the absolute peak. He has never reached this level of stardom. Do you think that maybe, if what we're saying is true or to be believed, do you think that he has benefited by rushing this album out, even if it was to appease the West Coast?
I don't think it's taken.
It went number one.
The reason why I asked that question is because I would say if I'm Kendrick Lamar after a beef like that, the only thing you can do, because all we know about hip hop culture, hip hop folklore, the rules and regulations, the unwritten stuff, the only thing you can do after a beef like that is to drop your best fucking album ever.
But I also think context is important.
And then I agree with you. And I agree with that premise.
Context is important.
The context of me is, it comes down to does he drop something in the next couple of months? If he does drop something,
which he can do,
and then I understand why you give us this project.
Anything that as far as time frame, it was purely on him.
Yeah,
there was no rush. Yeah. It was purely on him. He dictated when he felt it was right to put out. No, we weren't saying that, he's got to do it quick. He's got to strike whilst the iron's hot. We weren't doing that because
I think the fans were though.
When Super Bowl,
I think the fans were.
Fair.
Exactly. So we still got bare time.
No, but I think the fans were clamoring.
And we're still and not like us is still ringing off. So he's got bare time.
But I also agree.
I think when you got a hit like that, it affords you way more time.
I think the fans were clamoring for a project.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's, while I agree with you as far as like the context being important, as far as like uplifting the West Coast, look at the pop out, look at everything that's happened. He probably wanted to make this project to kind of appease that, and kind of like, it's kind of his love letter to the West Coast.
But the project could have been the victory lap.
Can I ask a question then?
You've done this tracks, you got Not Like Us, then you've done the pop out.
Can I ask a question?
Then you got the Super Bowl.
That's my point. No,
this album could have been the victory lap.
But then the Super Bowl's the victory lap. So that's why I think the album comes with. Do you understand what I'm saying? The victory lap isn't done. If he would have dropped this album and there's no, say he had no Super Bowl announcement, then this album is the victory lap. There's still a ways to go till we get to the victory lap. Then you go on tour. So the victory lap, we're not even in the third. Do you get what I'm saying? You've got the Super Bowl, then you've got the tour. So if you drop an album at that point, that's when your victory lap is really now running. Do you get what I'm saying? So I genuinely think this was just a here you go. Plus, until we get there.
I don't know if he was pronounced enough on the fact that it was. We know, I think, as aficionados, as experts, that this was an LA album, but I don't think he made a point of saying this is for LA.
I think he did when you have.
I don't think he did.
And he didn't say
it. But you know why you don't need to say it.
You've
got Lefty Gunplay on it. You got AZ.
Nobody knows who these people are.
That's my point. That's my point. Nobody knows who they are unless they're from out there. So that's how you let people know.
Kendrick Lamar's a global superstar, yo.
Yeah, but
so
then when you
has to, and this is why I said at the start, it's a niche listen. Like everybody who is a Kendrick Lamar fan, from the most commercial hip hop fans to the very, very specific West Coast fans, they kind of have to know like where his head is at with the project, and he hasn't really made a proclamation that like this is for the West.
I think he did.
No, he didn't.
He hasn't.
I don't think he needed to.
No, that's you reading between the lines.
I don't
That's
think
you
he
reading
needed
between
to.
the
I don't
lines.
think he needed to.
You don't think he needed to?
I think
don't
he,
think he
bro, I
needed
think
to.
I think you
the way
need
he
to.
sounds.
I think it was
I think you
intentional.
need to let the people know that this isn't the album that follows the highest moment of my career. You kind of need to let people know that this is
I think you figure it
But
out.
at the same,
you.
but at the same time, Not Like Us, by its very nature, is a West Coast track.
Yep.
He doesn't necessarily have to pronounce that his next album is going to be a love letter, because if you listen to the album, it's quite clear. I'm going back to my roots. You know what I'm saying? I think in Kendrick's case, he doesn't need to go to the rooftop and be like, "This is for the West Coast." Everything he's done, there's a couple things he's done in the lead up, like the Pop Out, like Not Like Us, and everything he's done in the West Coast since then, that kind of show that he's giving back or he's going back to his roots. So I don't necessarily think he needs to then say, okay, by the way, my album's for the West Coast. And to further that point, I feel like he's given us amazing albums for so long, right? Rich, detailed, all of that. Everything we could want from a discography. I don't think it's crazy for him to just want to
Have fun.
take his foot off the gas a little bit and capitalize off the victory by just doing something real quick like this that kind of follows the same kind of, it might necessarily be a victory lap of sorts, but if it's already kind of following the victory,
It's just
basically
continuing.
everything you do after
And
that
that's
is cool.
fine.
It's
I don't think
continuing
any
the
of us. I don't think any of us are saying that there's anything wrong with that. But for any artist that decides to do that, you're gonna run the risk of there being critique,
Yeah, of course.
considering what we're used to from him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he can do that, but there's always gonna be like a risk.
But then I also think then, to my earlier point, I think he's suffering from his own success, because if you can drop so many amazing albums in that time and you have a unique situation where you want to be so convincingly, then you drop a project, yes, you're going to be judged by everything else that matters and everything that's followed. And that's fine. That's perfectly valid. But I also think there should be some grace there.
I think there should be.
No. For me, it's
there
like
absolutely should be.
it's not a criticism. It was more a question just out of curiosity. I was thinking about it a lot. I just think he is so unapologetically West Coast. So I guess my point is, did he need to, at this particular moment, did he need to put out the West Coast specific mixtape as his first release on PG Lang? He could have put out an album which is the classic album, which takes him from November all the way to Super Bowl and then onto the tour if the album is good enough. And we know Kendrick has that ability, right? He could have done that and then paid homage to the West Coast whenever the hell he wanted. So the question I asked was more like,
But
is this the album that he needed to release now?
Maybe he
Yeah.
wanted some
I
new
think
slaps
so.
for the Super
Can I
Bowl
say
as
this
well.
though? Can I say this? If you feel like you won, if he feels like he won the beef because of the West, then he might feel like he owes it to them. The pop-out show was one of the highlights of the victory. Not Like Us being made, and then the way your city came out for Not Like Us. If he might feel like he owes it to them. Do you get what I'm saying?
He's done it.
Like,
He's done it with Not Like Us.
yeah, but
and
my
the
point-
pop-ups
and I
and all the other
understand,
things
but
you
then,
mentioned.
but then they also gave back to him in regards to the win. Do you understand what I'm saying? It goes hand in hand. You make Not Like Us, they also played a part in you molly-whopping Drake. Whether it's the pop-out, having bare people come out, whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's the city.
And Lucian.
So, but you understand my point. What I'm saying is, but do you understand what I'm saying? My point is, if he feels like he owes it to them, whilst he gave it to them, they still need to do. They gave him the win, so he might just feel like, yo, I owe it to these lot to do it.
Now.
Yeah, because
Why?
Because now is when they.
Why not?
Because you won the beef off the back of this. You won the beef off the
But
back of the city.
I think we
Do you
also
understand what I'm saying?
also don't know when the album was. We didn't know the conception of when it was going to take place as well.
Everything
So
seems like it was in the last month. Though.
I don't think it was as premeditated as people might think. I think the way things have ended up taking shape has meant that maybe he needed to do the West Coast album, innit? Because obviously you had the pop-out show, you had the diss tracks,
That's
you had
what I'm
all of
saying.
that.
It might be as simple
Do
as
you know
how
what I
much
mean?
he hanged around in West Coast
But
for
that's
the
what-
last
that's what
few
I'm saying,
months.
though.
He hanging around with some
that
Bloods
too?
and some
Yeah,
Crips, and
that
they're just
too.
like you need to
what you
represent.
doing?
You need to
Brother,
represent.
No,
Like,
but then,
like,
but then what,
you
that's
know
what,
I mean?
but then that's what I'm
Like-
saying. Because of the beef, essentially everything afterwards, it might be because he was so invested in the city and the city looked out for him and they
I mean,
were
it's
always
bloody
around.
admirable.
I think
if he,
I think you get an adrenaline rush when you're around it, and
yeah,
it just might be like,
for
yo,
sure.
I haven't
It's
had
as
this in
simple
a
as that.
long
Humans
time.
are humans,
Yeah.
and it's admirable if he was just like, no, I'm gonna put my quest to have another classic album on pause to dedicate it to the West Coast for sure. But like, I just feel like the reality is that this album hasn't really impressed as much as his previous thing. And I think if you're a Kendrick Lamar character, if you're PG Lang, if you're whomever, you probably look at that even from like a metric standpoint and you're just like, okay, maybe maybe we should have maybe taken a slightly different strategy. Maybe we could have done this in a slightly different way. You could have paid homage to the West Coast through a couple of songs on the classic album. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a whole album which is dedicated to it, especially if it's as niche. Like, again, for me, it's not the most stereotypical, archetypal West Coast album, unless you listen to the new kids.
But I think
there's enough on here to where it's like it's not as bad as how you're sounding it is.
Beyond Squabble
I
Up
think there's
and,
enough
and,
on
and,
here,
and, and Hey Now, like, what's really
Peekaboo's a West Coast sound.
That's a banger to me. Hey Now's a banger to me.
But I just think
GNX?
GNX, let's not
is-
talk about that
GNX is-
song.
That was cool.
I like
No,
GNX.
it's
I like no,
terrible.
I don't like
What do you
GNX.
like
I like
about
Hill.
it?
I like the second verse.
Reincarnated?
What do you like
Let
about
me
I
tell
don't
you-
like reincarnated.
What?
I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Reincarnated-
yeah.
No, the
It's
second
not
verse of
West Coast, it's just the Tupac song.
The second
Yeah.
verse of GNX, the second verse of GNX, whoever that
I
guy
maybe
was,
want to
Hill,
revisit
he was
Tupac.
cooking. But
I won't, but
By the way, like, Reincarnated,
wait, what did you say, Yemi?
You're a bastard.
Reincarnated made me want to revisit Tupac. I won't, but you know.
Why would you?
it's not a good song, you know.
It's the I won't.
Don't buy it.
I hate that verse where he's having a conversation with.
Yeah, I don't like
I
it.
hate that song.
Damn.
I really hate that verse.
I like Reincarnate.
Damn.
To be real with you, man. Maybe I don't know what it is. I thoroughly enjoyed this album. Thoroughly.
Do you know how mad it is
enjoyed
for-
this album? I'll be real.
You know how mad it is for me to say this stuff? I genuinely feel like I'm betraying him. But
I thoroughly
I
enjoyed it.
can't hide.
So let me
You're
get this
just
right.
holding
So
him
let
to
me
a
get this
very
right.
high standard,
You'd
which is
rather listen
very,
to- wait,
which
hold
is
on.
fine.
Wait. Let me just. So you rather listen to every other song. Mr. Worldwide Stepper. As opposed to Peekaboo, I just send it.
Yo,
Peek. I'm joking. Don't bite.
Mohammed, one of the reasons why me and you are eventually gonna fight one day, yeah, is because it's kind of like the way you switched up on J Cole. Yeah?
Can you not bite, bro?
Like, it's kind of how you
Can you
switched up
not
on J
bite,
Cole.
bro?
You, yeah,
All right, here we
you
go.
were the biggest fan of Mr.
Fam, he
Morale.
he
And
was.
now you're doing all of this to
I
take a
think
piss.
Mr. Morale's amazing though.
Used to think.
No, I still think. I said I still think.
So what was all this now?
I was just trying to get you to bite.
No. You won. You succeeded, bro. You succeeded. But like, I find
No, Mr. Morale's amazing.
there
man.
are
You can't
so
believe
many songs of Mr. Morale.
It is.
There's a whole bunch of people who were saying like I've tweaked the track listing, the original track listing of GNX or whatever. I don't do any of that shit. I typically just strip out what I listen to. Whatever.
You have a job as well.
Like, you know what I mean?
Wait, what do you mean?
I got a life.
Say that again. What did
A
they
lot of
do?
people are like are not happy with the sequencing of GNX, so they've been doing like their own
I ain't
little
got time for that.
flows or whatever. I don't really do any of that shit. But like, if I take the individual tracks of Mr. Morale, it's a double album, so it's obviously hard to compare. But like, if I take the individual tracks of Mr. Morale, like,
Rich Spirit,
like,
hard.
come on, man, like, we're talking about songs
Count
which
me
are
out.
comfortably better than anything on GNX, comfortably.
No, I agree with you.
And I'm really mad, by the way, that the video that was used to promote GNX, the song that was on that.
I was not on that.
Fam, I was so upset that wasn't on GNX. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
I was surprised it wasn't
maybe
on
that's
there,
gonna
man.
come on the next
Oh,
thing
I was-
because he does
oh,
that
yeah,
little
deluxe. He does
overlap
that.
thing, or maybe it'll be on a deluxe type thing. But that for me,
He's done that before
was
though.
where, yeah, that
No,
was
right.
when my excitement
Rich.
level for GNX went to the highest mountain.
Can I ask you a
But
question?
then it just
Bro,
wasn't
you
on.
remember that tune at the start of the Alright video?
Yeah,
Yes.
bro.
Yeah,
we still
when they
ain't
lifted
got
the car.
that.
Yeah.
When my man's lifted the car, innit?
Yeah.
That's his biggest
These
crime.
motherfuckers hating on me.
That's his biggest crime.
Talking
about my dick,
but my dick ain't
free.
Yeah.
Bro,
What did he
bro,
say?
bro.
Another
Another classic LP up there. That was
But
crazy.
Rich, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If he does drop an album Super Bowl time, do you give him grace for this?
Depends how good it is.
Let's just
I
say it's
just
an
wanna
album,
be-
like it's everything you expected from him, conceptual, and it's an amazing album.
I'm already giving him the. I know your question was
Yeah,
to Neat, but I've already given him the grace.
But I feel like Neat isn't giving him grace.
No,
I
he's
think
not.
Neat
No,
I
think
I
Nee's-
don't know if I'm not giving him grace. I'm just saying like
expected.
I just don't find this out. My expectation is I could not ask this guy for anything more.
I hear you.
It's kind of like Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? How can I be mad at the Champions Leagues we didn't win or the leagues we didn't win after the 7 or 8 years he's given me? I'm never, ever, ever going to say, Kendrick Lamar, you owed me this, or Kendrick Lamar, you disappointed me. Again, GNX is not a bad album. I'm just saying, I just didn't enjoy it as much. Like, I think sonically, I don't know what Kendrick has done to appeal to my sonic inclinations over the years, right? But like, whatever he did in those albums, he just didn't do here for me. So I just haven't enjoyed it as much. But like, so it's less, I'm not giving him grace. This guy is a goat to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's more, I just didn't enjoy it. So to answer your question, if he comes out with another album which is on, I don't want to use the word classic in it, fuck all that. But if he drops an album which is along the lines of like the Dams and the Pimp a Butterflies and the whatever's,
That's what he needs.
like,
That's what he needs.
we've already said he's like one away from being like without question, like, you know what I mean, like
No one.
the one who's
No,
not
it's
to be
not.
spoken
No,
about,
it's not without question.
right? I mean, well, look, I mean, whatever.
It should be.
But,
though.
P, one more.
but you get my point, right?
And then
But-
what happens?
One more, man.
And what happens?
He's the GOAT.
But yeah, I just don't know. I'm torn as to whether or not I think an album's coming.
I think it is.
I think it has to be coming, but like,
I don't think it's gonna be a brand new album. I think it's probably just a deluxe.
I reckon
with like a few more songs.
I reckon around. I don't think he will go on tour off the back of GNX.
yeah, he won't go on tour off back of GNX.
Okay.
And it's stadium tours. I don't think he will do a tour off the back of. I reckon.
His first PG
bro,
Lang
it's
release.
Super Bowl, man. It's the Super Bowl, bro. You have to. It's the
his
Super
first
Bowl,
PG
bro.
Lang release
It's
isn't
too
gonna
big.
be, like, filled
It's
with,
too.
like,
Everything's
feature
too.
I'm on the fence.
But he
Everything's
wouldn't
too-
be relying on his most recent album to perform at the Super Bowl.
But my
He's
point
got
is,
so
why
many
no?
songs that he
It'll help, though.
I think it'll drop after the
help,
Super
though.
Bowl. I reckon it'll drop after the Super Bowl. But the timing of the Super Bowl, and then you're going on a stadium tour. Bro, you're gonna. I reckon he does drop an album. And also, to conspiracy theorists, there's 2 cars in the GNX video in the YouTube. So one could be what he gave us, and the second car could be an album.
Oh, this guy, you sound like Peter.
Come on now.
We'll see, innit?
Open your third eye. as you say.
I liked the album, man. It's one of my favorite albums of the year, actually. And you know, I think I surprised myself with that, to be quite honest with you, because of what I typically enjoy and what I enjoy specifically from him. But I enjoyed it, man. It was simplistic, but for me, it was just slaps. It felt like slaps. And yeah, I was here for it, man. It was a way more simplified version of what I'm used to from him, and I was here for all of that.
Was he feeling it after our first time listen? Or did it grow on you?
No, grow me.
I thought so.
Yeah, I had to go away and sit with it, and then I did. I was like, oh shit, no, I really enjoy this.
I thought so.
Heart Part 6 is probably my favourite song on there.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite song on there.
Well, how did you?
Yeah, SWV though. I love SWV, and I love the content of what he's talking about.
Which you
and,
really don't like
you know,
Yeah,
come on,
like,
man, that sort
I
of
think with
that sort of
Heart
beat's
Part
that's gonna
6,
appeal to me, man.
As a big like K-Dot fan, like the Hot Part 6 actually covered a lot of ground that he's covered before about the TDE journey and like where they were, and you know J-Rock was the first one who went through, and Absol was working at Tower Records, and Dave Free was a jack of all trades, and the relationship with Top and Punch and all like. First of all, I didn't really love the SWV flip. I like the song on its own, but
You
like,
need soul.
I guess
Free.
RT, I've just not really liked the last 2 hearts. I'll be honest with you. The best
You
thing
didn't
about
like the Heart Part 5?
Heart Part 2 is the best.
best thing about
I wasn't the biggest
best
fan of
thing about
5, I'll
Heart
be
Part 5
real.
was the video. Like, the
You didn't
video.
like Heart Part 5?
I didn't love Heart.
I didn't love it either.
Heart Part 2 is the best to
I
me.
didn't love it either.
Heart Part 5
That is
is.
Yeah.
crazy.
2, 3, 4, unbelievable.
I think 5 is my favourite one.
You got too much soul in
We
your life.
argued this
5 and
before,
6 I
innit?
didn't
You
love
couldn't
as
really make
much.
No, you got too much soul.
So yeah, and I think another thing an issue I have, and this is gonna sound like sacrilege, betrayal, but one of the biggest things that's like leveled at Kendrick Lamar is he overcomplicates things, and like his lyrical delivery can be a bit convoluted, and it can be a little bit too much. I think he did that a lot, yeah.
His lyrics or his like vocal performance?
His lyrics. So like there are sometimes, like, I think Kendrick Lamar sometimes would just like be much better off just like taking out 3 or 4 words in a bar sometimes, because I think sometimes in order to make your songs as catchy as they can be, sometimes you just have to make the bars slightly tighter and more concise. And I think sometimes if you just listen to the lyrics, if you just listen to it literally from like a diction or vocabulary perspective, sometimes he's just like shoehorning in like words, and he's shoehorning in phrases which I think sometimes take away from the from the listening experience. And I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but it's kind of what happened with Eminem.
But he does that a lot, though.
He does it a lot.
Kendrick's been doing that for the last few albums.
I know. But
Reincarnated, he does that a lot.
Reincarnated
exactly,
Eminem, by the way.
exactly. And Eminem kind of, you know, when supreme talents just get so bored of doing things simply that they just challenge themselves. They're not challenging us. They're challenging themselves in what they can do. That's why Eminem made songs like Rap God and all this other stuff. Like, no one's ever going to learn the lyrics to fucking songs like Rap God or whatever, a lot of the stuff. But they're doing it because, like, for them, that's how they're creative. That's where they are creatively. However, when you do that, when you go down that route, you have to remember there's a listener on the end of it. And sometimes I feel like some artists, when they get too complicated, forget that. So there are situations, Reincarnated was an example of that, where I think he's overdone some of the bars. And I think that also, given it's meant to be a lighter, punchier, type of throwaway type project, he should also look at. I'm finding it increasingly harder to like learn the lyrics to his music, and I'm finding it increasingly harder to like follow his rhyming patterns, because there's just not really.
I think with
Squabble Up as well, to be fair.
I think with Reincarnated,
there's a bit of that in Squabble Up.
A song like Squabble Up should be so much tighter and so much more concise and so much more fun.
But with Reincarnated, specifically, he's following the same rhyme scheme that Pac was rhyming on, innit? So I think you could allow him a bit of grace with that specific criticism.
Maybe.
Because that's how Pac was rhyming on that as well. So he's doing his like best Pac impersonation on like the first verse at least. So
he does it a lot. I just think sometimes he gets away with it, or gets away with it is the wrong term. I think sometimes it works really, really well, but sometimes when it doesn't quite click, it's just like shit, man. Like it does sound like he spent so much time trying to make that bar work in the way that he wrote it, and maybe an easier alternative would have been to just like chop it down a little bit and deliver it in a slightly different way.
Take out a word or two.
Yeah. And I mean that's just purely with like rapper head. I'm never was nor will I ever be like as good a rapper as him. But like from a stylistic, artistic standpoint, sometimes I'm like, yo, just keep it simple.
How did you feel about his revelation about him being the cause of Black Hippy never moving forward?
We knew that, man.
Yeah, like I've never believed in the super entourage in rap. We've never had one really. Do you know what I mean? What was the one that they were gonna do with? Was it?
Well, Slaughterhouse.
Nah. Well, I mean, Slaughterhouse is probably. Yeah, but Slaughterhouse had like 2 really, really big artists at the time, Royce and Joe, and then 2 really well known, sort of tier 2, tier 3 underground rappers. Do you know what I mean?
Peter knew them for sure.
Yeah, of course Pete knew them, but like, so that was more, and they were all they're similar walks of life, whatever. But what was it? Lupe Fiasco, Jay-Z, and
Child Rebel Soldier.
Huh?
Child Rebel Soldier.
Child Rebel
Oh,
Soldier.
Kanye, yeah,
like we've had loads. Oh, Kanye. That was it. Kanye,
Pharrell,
Lupe, Pharrell.
Lupe, yeah.
Right. Like we've had loads of concepts like this where we were like, this is gonna be the supergroup and they're gonna do
Doomstarks
together, huh?
Doomstarks.
Yeah, like we had the J. Cole Kendrick Lamar thing. They're gonna do an album together. Like we these things we should never ever believe. So as much as we were all excited by the Black Hippy stuff, and when they came out in early doors and had songs like Say What's Up and all this other stuff, and the chemistry was so amazing, I never believed that a Black Hippy album was ever coming. Never.
And you could tell why. I didn't need Kendrick to tell me it was his fault. Could have put 2 and 2 together.
I just think
You get
it's
what I'm saying,
really
man?
difficult to get groups like individual artists to do
Yeah,
albums together.
man.
So I don't think. I mean, at the early stages, I didn't necessarily believe it would have been Kendrick's fault. But I think as his career has developed, it's quite obvious.
It makes
He
sense.
should have done it.
By the way, though, I did love him giving out Absol a shout out. I don't know why.
Yeah, man, that was
It should have happened around like.
But this is
2012,
why I just said he
Loved
should have
him.
done it, because like
Loved him giving
the
up.
Black Hippy thing would have not necessarily served him
Everyone else.
as much as it would have served everybody else. Like if you think about when the Black Hippy album might have come, that was when maybe Schoolboy Q was in between Habits and Contradictions and Oxymoron, and that would have taken him to
That's
somewhere
what it
else.
Should have been 2012 to 2014.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's what it should've been.
like you know what I mean? Like J-Rock hadn't done the Grammy winning album, and he was still trying to figure out his way, still making really good stuff. Because by the way, shout out J-Rock, because he's just always made really great albums and just get massively slept on, right? But like, had he done it at that interesting point for all of those, that inflection point of all of the other members of Black Hippy, it would have been so beneficial for TDE as a label.
Facts.
They would have had they would have had one super duper star, but they would have had like the rest of the 3 as just like basically like when Kendrick doesn't release, we've got these guys who are making unbelievable shit, and they still did, but it would have just added an extra level to their star, innit? And I feel like that's the missed opportunity.
Yeah, but also showcasing SZA and Isaiah as well.
Yeah, like it's
No, salute.
it would have been nice, but you know.
It was a nice coming together full story. Just from the outside looking in, I'll be wrong. But the Absol bit was the bit that hit me the hardest. I was like, it's actually everything he's been through and the way he raps. It's always nice to hear him giving me flowers.
Absolutely.
I don't think-
he's superhuman, man.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he's-
but you know when you want people to hear it.
His new album, by
right.
the way, is criminally slept
I
on.
need to
Really,
sleep.
And that's why he
listen.
tweeted about it. And
It was
I
really
Yeah, I saw
felt,
that
I
tweet.
felt him because like
Yeah.
this album it's one of his best.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like, no one's talking about it. Like
I mean, this album for me doesn't really do anything or take away from like Kendrick as far as like legacy or his catalog in any particular way. I think it's just in my mind, it's just going to be a project that just kind of just stands alone. It's just there, innit? Yeah, like I mean, Kendrick is still going to be Kendrick. Like his catalog is going to be what it is. It'd be interesting to see how this project ages as well, but it don't really do anything as far
It doesn't
as
move the needle for me,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
It doesn't move the needle.
I accepted it for what it was. I'm cool with it. Do you know what I mean? And I'll be ready for the next one.
I don't think it's supposed to, man. I don't think it's supposed to move the needle
Yeah.
because I think, as we've said, I think it's more of a personal project for him than anything. And the fact that he was going back to West Coast beats, the fact that he was talking in the Heart Part 6 about, you know, his come up and all that, I think it's very much, it's clear to me anyway, that it's something that he wanted to get out there, get off his chest and just also let us have, but also just let us know that, you know, he's capable of just kind of, not toning it down, but like giving us something like that isn't necessarily tied to a concept or tied to anything like super duper thematic. So I think for him, I think it was a nice release to have. But to your point, I don't think it moves the needle in any way as far as like how I perceive him. Because I just know, and that's the thing with Kendrick, at least for me anyway, I accept now that he's going to give us good to great projects. I don't think I'm ever going to hear anything where I'm just like, that is whack. So that's probably why I don't feel so much of a way about GNX, because I know that even if he does drop this, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 albums are going to be of a greater quality.
And even if they're not, that's okay as well.
And even if they're not, it's okay.
It says a lot when...
Please, let's not manifest that, please.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
it says a lot.
Kendrick,
I'm just
please,
saying, man.
He can't make whack
Do not drop the ball, please.
He can't make whack albums, man.
Eminem.
I was told a lot of people can't make whack albums.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Whack albums.
I mean,
Give me an example.
Eminem after his third album.
Who told you Eminem can't make whack albums?
Hey, when Eminem was at his pop,
Eminem after his third album, after Slim Shady
Who
LP,
was
let me tell you.
every
Wait, hold on. What's Eminem's first 3 albums?
Guys,
wait,
can you answer
Yemi,
my question?
Infinite,
Slim
What's
Shady,
Marshall
No,
Mathers,
take away the first one.
Slim Shady
What's his first 3
LP,
albums?
But Infinite was cool.
Take away Infinite.
Infinite was
What's his
cool.
first 3 albums?
Eminem
Take
Slim
away-
Shady,
Slim Shady.
Marshall Mathers,
Eminem Show.
Infinite was cool.
Does
I
that sound like
liked
someone
it.
that can make 15 bad albums in a row?
Nah,
Then what are we doing here? If you make
15 is wild.
when you make
15 is
but my point is when you start with those 3, when you come off the block 28 goals a season, 29 goals a season, 32 goals a season, and then I told you this guy can start averaging 5 goals a season, don't expect it, do you? So I'm just saying that. But that being
we've
said,
seen
I
it
agree.
done, though.
That being said, yeah, I
Adam
agree with you. I
Johnson
don't think
bagged
he's
like 25 goals 2 seasons in a row, and then he started going a
Who's
bit
that?
wayward.
Who's that?
Andy Johnson
Huh?
and Kevin Phillips.
He had
And
130. Hang on.
So I'm saying now Quinn as well.
Andy Johnson got like 20 plus goals 2 seasons in a row.
No, he didn't.
That's a fact.
I think he
Did I
did.
just make that up?
No,
I
he
think
did. No, Crystal
I think
Palace.
he did.
Bro,
He
I
finished
In a
second to
row.
Henry.
Bro, I
It
think
wasn't
he
in a
did,
row.
No, he finished second to Henri.
Bro, we were trying to buy him.
He finished second. Hold on.
We were
is
linked
this-
to him
is
around
this
him.
a break?
You gotta
Is this a
fact
break?
check it.
Is this a break? 'Cause I know we're not adding.
No, keep rolling.
We're not gonna add this to the podcast.
We are adding
No,
it.
it's in. It's in.
Alright,
It's
cool.
in.
Let me just say this.
Kevin
though.
Phillips too.
Can I just say this? Shout out to Kevin Phillips and now Quinn for what it's worth. But let me say this though.
Little large.
In regards to, I don't even know what.
The
I'm
Rice
gonna say.
himself had a bad boy season too. Remember when he scored that bicycle kick for England?
Bro, hang on. Andy Johnson
I thought
scored.
he was gonna be the truth.
Andy Johnson scored 27 goals in the championship, and then Palace got promoted,
24.
and then he scored 21 goals in the
Yeah,
Prem.
that's 20 goals 2
Oh,
seasons in a
come
row.
on, boys. Come on, boys.
I don't make the rules.
You're not wrong when you're right.
What did I say?
Hear me?
Okay.
You've heard the same, right?
Cool.
You're not wrong when you're right. Pete's not wrong when he's right.
Hey man.
Really, man.
Whatever, man.
That being
Wow.
said, in regards,
Yeah, man.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys though. Dodger Blue, I don't know what it does to my system, but you see Dodger
What
Blue.
does it do to your system?
Cause a man goes, yeah. What he goes, 50 on me, don't die trying in this. How do you say? But how do you sing? And then you say 50 on me, don't try dying in this. Like, nah, man, I love songs like that. On my kids, I'll suck you. Have you ever took a fader free? What do you say? I fight 3 more back to the back. Oh, you haven't? Then shut up and keep it rap. Ga 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 ga. Nah, man, Dodger Blue does that to me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
I think my favourite songs are Whacked Out Murals, Squabble Up,
Okay.
Heart Part 6,
Okay.
Hey Now. Those are my favourite songs.
I got Whacked Out Murals, Squabble Up, Reincarnated, TV Off, and Peekaboo.
Yeah, Whacked
say
Out
my
Murals, Squabble Up, Hey Now, but like, yeah, Hey Now is my favorite, I think, of the whole album. Didn't really love the Tyler remix, but anyway.
You didn't like the Tyler?
You know
remix?
the Tyler
I
remix?
didn't really love it.
Don't do that.
Damn.
I thought Tyler.
But he's another one. If he gives us an album of West Coast
I
slaps,
thought, yo, Rich.
That'd be
I thought
great.
Tyler skated on that. I can't lie. I thought Tyler. Have you heard it?
Tyler,
Yeah,
Tyler the creator, by the way.
Sometimes it's
I
too
thought
much.
Tyler the Creator skated. on it.
I'm not a big Tyler
Second
guy.
half of
Neither am I
TV
though.
Off was good for me, and then Dodger Blue, the low points, GNX, and Heart 6.
We didn't even
I
ask
like
for that.
Peekaboo.
We didn't even ask for the low points, but safe.
Can I say my,
You like Peekaboo?
Peekaboo, it's not high.
so my favorites?
It's cool.
My favorites, I would
What they're
say.
talking about, no, they're talking about,
I'll
they're
say-
talking
I'll say-
about.
Oh, no, come on. No. That goes off. That goes
They're
up.
talking about nine. What are they
They're
talking
talking about what they're talking about. Talking about what they're
Hey,
Not gonna lie, that slaps.
no, man, say,
Yes.
hey,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
That's my high point.
But you know what it
Yes.
is? You know what I love about the song as well?
That's
I think the and AZ Track who was in Peekaboo had the best feature.
Chike.
It's AZ Chike.
It's Chike.
He's Nigerian.
Easy Chike.
AZ Chike.
It's
He's Nigerian,
Chike.
isn't it? It's
No,
Chike.
he's not.
It's Chike.
He's actually not.
Chike.
He's
Chike.
Nigerian.
Bro, I've heard these guys pronounce his name
It's
and they've gone
Chike.
AZ Chike.
He don't know how it's
I
pronounced.
say Chike.
He just
Is
needs
he
to
a
go back
Chike?
home.
That's all.
It's
Respectfully,
AZ.
African Americans don't know how to pronounce a whole lot of African names, so please.
I don't think this is meant to be an African name. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
just
this
shoot
is.
at
Chike.
African
I don't think
Americans.
this is meant
It's
to be an
chicken.
African name.
As chicken.
I don't think this is meant to be an African name, my brother.
Chike.
I don't think he said AZ Chike. I don't think.
Go for your songs, man.
We don't know about West Coast. Sorry, I apologize. But anyway, can I just say I think he's got the best feature on the album. Out of all of the features, I think he skated the best.
What did you think of the features? I
it?
thought the features, for the most part, sounded like a bunch of rappers who were a little bit shy.
I think he grabbed. I think he grabbed a bunch of local.
Well,
but I
Chicken-
think,
Chicken
I
was
think,
dope.
I think AZ Chike had the best feature, but I think majority of them, like I didn't like. Peso, anyway, my favorite. Sorry, I've got Whacked Out Murals, Squabble Up, Hey Now, TV Off, Dodger Blue, Peekaboo, and I really f with Reincarnated.
You might as well just name the rest
That's
of
what I
the
was
songs
gonna
on the
say, man.
album.
That's what I was gonna say. But I didn't want to do that.
That's just all of them.
No, how? I named same amount as you, man.
Doty was cool.
you
You know what I say? You three collectively.
Lefty Gun. Lefty Gunplay was cool.
He said 3 words.
Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Those are some impactful words, brother, man. In some impactful words, sir.
Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
Hitter J3 was dope.
Oh, he was dope.
When are you listening to Reincarnated?
I'm not.
When am I listening
On
to
the
it?
train.
I'll be real with you though.
On the train.
and then-
Give me the
Now,
scenes.
now this is why
I'm on
I
the
say
train.
life
I'll go
comes.
listen to
This is
Pat's
why I
version,
say.
man.
I'm
This is
on
why I
the
say
train.
life comes full circle. Let me tell you why. They're not aware of what
We can cut
talked
the
about
outlaws
earlier
out of it.
with religion.
Take the outlaws out of that song.
I shouldn't like that third verse
Useless.
because what we talked about earlier about religion. I shouldn't like that third verse here, but you see that third verse of Reincarnated is so cold to me. So cold to me. I'll be real.
Mo Salah can't have a Christmas tree.
You shouldn't listen. You shouldn't like the whole
Brother,
song.
man.
I said that though.
Because I don't know about the concerts.
This is when real life seep into the pod.
That's what I just said though. I said I shouldn't like it. So therefore, I think no. I didn't add Reincarnated. I said, did I add
Yeah, you
Reincarnated?
Yeah,
did.
you did.
You absolutely did.
And
Yeah,
it's on
but you know what it is
record.
when he goes, what did he say to him again? He goes, but I love peace. No, you don't. Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, then tell me the truth. Isn't it?
Okay, tell me more.
It's just, yeah. It's just,
no, I'm good.
Okay, tell me more.
Rich, I feel like you think this project's whack.
Without saying it, right?
Yeah, bro. Like, I think your respect for Kendrick is,
Which
this
is fine.
is not allowing you to say it's whack. But
Basically.
you think it's whack.
It's
bro.
not
Got your
by force,
ass.
you know?
He got your
I
ass.
It's not by
see,
force.
bro, you think it's whack, bro. You think it's a terrible, terrible project.
No,
with
I
a
don't
bunch-
think you think it's
Hold on,
terrible.
I'll tell you what Rich thinks.
Go on, tell me what Rich
thinks.
thinks.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bums on this project. Rich thinks it's a I don't think he likes the sound of it. I don't think he likes the production. I don't think he likes the features. I don't think he likes 75% of the songs.
feels the samples
I
are
think-
lazy.
I think the samples are lazy. I think the songs that he doesn't like the whole song.
Lyrically,
he likes
Kendrick's
some
done
of them.
too much.
I think he likes 30 seconds of TV off, which means he doesn't like the song.
Basically.
I think you think the project's whack, and your respect for Kendrick.
You're just tolerating it because
Yeah,
it's Kendrick, innit?
because it's Kendrick.
I'm gonna lie, like, you've perfectly summarized my take,
Oh, for real.
and I'm actually quite sad.
You didn't say any of that, by the way.
No, I basically said he summarized that pretty well. To be fair, like, given what I said, like that's actually not a bad summary. Now I feel even worse. I actually don't like this album, but when you say it like that, that's how I came across.
But it's
today.
alright though, man.
That's how I came across.
You know
today.
how I know you
okay,
didn't like the
bro,
album?
like-
You know how
I do
figured
like
that-
the album,
You know
I
how I
just-
figured that you didn't like the album? You know when someone says Reincarnated, and you go, "Hey, Reincarnated is whack." I was like, "Yeah." Every time I named another song, he was just looking at me in disgust. Bro, how many do you like?
So
Bro,
not,
I think it's
not my
alright
favorite
though,
Tupac
man.
song. Not my favorite Tupac
Nah, I
song
hear
to
you,
start
I hear
with.
you.
And then again, like that whole sort of like speaking to, again, I don't want you to speak to the devil. I don't want you to speak to Jesus.
seen that
saying
enough,
I deserve
man.
it
We've heard
all.
that
I don't
enough.
want any of that. I
Fair.
want Kendrick to just skate.
You don't like Scissor and
I want
Kendrick?
him in white socks and Converses, and like hyper long shorts that come up to the ankle, to the shins.
Like the Chicanos.
And I want him, you know what I mean? I just want him in that. I don't want him to do introspective anymore. We had that with Mr. Morale. He captured the summer with the beef.
Where does that leave him then?
West Coast, huh?
Where does that leave him then?
No, I'm not saying he shouldn't do it ever.
Okay.
I'm saying right now.
Did you hear my
This
summary?
particular moment. That's why I was like the timing of this and the type of thing that you put out
Fair,
at this
fair.
time was important. Like, you know, I want him to release an album which is just like not serious at all. But I don't want him to become an unserious artist. He's too important. The stuff that he touches upon and has shone a light on, too important. But like, I don't know, man. I just think, yeah, I don't know, man. Get on some K Tronada or some shit. I don't know.
That would be lit.
That'd be hard.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you think he ever stopped? Do you think he ever stops doing subliminals to Drake, or does that just stay forever now?
He didn't shoot
Well,
for
Drake
Drake
did a
that
subliminal
much on
for
this.
him on that little stream.
Not
little
that
streamy
much,
stream,
But a few
isn't it?
times. When
Yeah,
what did he say?
couple
What was that
times.
part when he was like, people couldn't even entertain old boy? put it. Promises,
Oh, that was on
big
White Some Heroes.
transactions. Yeah.
Yeah.
He done quite, and then he was like, "What's that? Scribble up." Literally the next song,
Yeah.
in him. That's a ladder.
I thought Cole caught
Cole
few
caught
more
a-
strays on
Cole
this
caught
than
RPG.
Drake, you know?
Cole caught RPG.
Yeah, man. You can't pick a side up and pick a side for you and that.
Man,
yeah,
F your hip hop. I'll watch the party just die.
Yeah, man.
Yes, he did.
Drake's still the man though.
But what does that? To answer your question, do you think he ever stops, or does it just play part and parcel of hip hop?
Nah, like this is. Yeah,
He'll
this-
stop.
I think it's part and parcel, bro. I think he'll forever do it.
I think even if he stops, people will always associate certain lines with Drake, no matter what. He could be talking about
Absolutely.
like a fucking op from primary school, and people would be like, "Oh, no, that sounds."
That's
like
what it
he's
is,
talking
innit?
about that Canadian
Mr.
Right.
1, 2, 3,
and
4,
Drake will be
5.
the same. Everything Drake says, which is any way confrontational or inflammatory, people will be like, "Oh, he's talking about that boy from Compton."
He still sounds like Pusha T.
He almost slipped up.
Exactly.
Goes F. Kendrick.
on that little streamy stream.
And then he
But
caught
again,
himself
but
quickly. He
that's-
was like,
that
I'm
white
not
boy.
gonna do
That's
that.
just like
You don't
classic.
see it?
That's
With-
one
yeah,
of the
with that
reasons
white
why
boy.
Drake will forever be like just a very
corny,
wet
man.
geezer. Like it's just like
I feel.
And he said, when I see Sexy Red, I see two bad ones.
Yeah, he co-signed that. He was like, "Yeah, what do you mean? I see
not
two."
gonna lie. If you could describe GNX in one word, what would it be?
Peekaboo.
I will go with fun.
Los Angeles.
It's two.
Los.
Santos. Sorry.
Cali.
Oh,
He pulled it back. I would go for whelming. Not underwhelming, not overwhelming.
Please, we've already established you
You're
think it's
actually-
whack.
Just
The
whelming.
amount of peas that he's copped.
Is that
on
even
this
a
is
word?
nuts, you know?
Whelm. I don't even know.
is whelming a word?
Whelming.
Doesn't it always go
Whelming.
underwhelming or
Whelming.
overwhelming?
It is now.
Whelming. I'm whelmed.
Whelming.
You're what?
I'm just whelmed.
Well, if you're whelmed by Kendrick Lamar's GNX, let us know in the comments section. And yeah, man, that's that on that. As far as GNX goes, we'll obviously be looking forward to seeing what else comes from Kendrick Lamar. And we'll be here, man. We'll be
PG
here.
Lang, ho.
Yes, I mean, listen, I think it's a good start for PG Lang, but we'll see how that develops and builds. But yeah, that'll be us. Nee, once again, thank you very much
Thank you for having
Big
me.
up,
for coming
man.
through.
big up,
For
big
coming
up.
through.
Thanks for having me.
Big up you, man, as well. And yeah, you'll see us very soon. So until then, take care, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.
Hey, that's my